Since the beginning of Operation Inherent Resolve, the 20-nation air component supporting the 66-nation coalition operating in Syria and Iraq have conducted a total of over 14,100 airstrikes. These strike operations showcase coalition precision capabilities by destroying Islamic State leaders and resources while minimizing the impact to surrounding populations.
When people see strike footage on television or online, whether that strike was conducted from a manned or remotely piloted aircraft, it's important to realize what they're looking at is literally a snapshot in time of a much larger narrative that, depending on the target, started a minimum of several hours prior, more likely several days or weeks prior to that weapon hitting the target. And oh, by the way, the narrative will continue long after the weapon impacts as we assess whether specific objectives were met, as well as follow-on enemy actions in response to our strike. Each one of our strikes is a result of a very detailed, calculated process. We collect and analyze intelligence over time. We identify and verify very specific targets, determine the effects we want to achieve on each of those targets. And with that data, then we can select the appropriate munition, the appropriate fuse settings, and very specific aim points to achieve the desired effects on the enemy. And we do all that while minimizing collateral damage.
From intelligence collection and target selection to aircraft maintenance and operations, subject matter experts explain the carefully calculated process that goes into each and every strike.
I'm an intelligence weapons officer here at the 380th Air Expeditionary Wing. So it all begins with the Combined Air Operations Center identifying a point of interest that they then want to have developed and become a target. So once that point of interest is identified, we'll start to develop that target and really saturate it with intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, such as full motion video and tracking pattern of life around the area, identifying any air points for collateral damage, or see how the other population areas around the target may be affected, as well as looking at still imagery from high altitude intelligence and surveillance and reconnaissance assets and other intelligence disciplines that can be fused together. Once the targets are validated, they're handed off to us intel guys to conduct the weaponeering for that, matching the best munition to the actual target to maximize the effects and minimize collateral damage. So that process involves taking the right bomb body, matching it with the right tail kit in terms of guidance, and the right fusing on the bomb. So 99% of the munitions we employ in this war are precision guided. Once we determine what munitions is going to be employed, then we hand off that information to the munitions maintenance shop for them to build the bomb.
I'm the production section chief for munitions flight. We'll interpret the data that we're getting. They'll give us a request and they'll say, hey, this is the type of target that we're looking at. They'll actually give us a preferred weapon that they want to use. And my job is to make sure that the components that we have available to us, that we can build that quantity of munitions for them. Whatever they ask for, basically, again, we're going to give it to them. We take the components and assemble that. We have a munitions assembly conveyor where we do our rapid assembly. So depending on what the job is, you know, my guys are out there 24/7 ready to go.
I'm an air battle manager and I fly on the E3 AWACS. Our role is important because we're an airborne extension to the Air Operations Center, so we provide that battle management piece, and with the sensors that we have on our plane, we're able to organically provide our own data, and then that allows us to flex to any operational mission. So the Air Operations Center will make the plan, and then we'll execute it at the tactical level. So as the situation rapidly changes, we just flex to get the job done. So what we're doing is we're sanitizing the airspace before the aircraft even get there, taking a look at the picture, looking if there's any other countries that are already flying there to provide safety. We'll also deconflict. We'll make sure that the fuel is in place for those strike assets because they'll need to refuel before they can bomb the target. Once they have the fuel, we make sure they have the right weapons to do the job. And then we can deconflict the airspace. We do a lot of deconfliction between manned and unmanned aircraft. And then we'll provide overwatch for that strike mission. And then any changes or if the target's not hit, we can always reroll other assets to get the job done as well.
As a pilot, you definitely have a direct impact in the fight against Daesh. However, you have to think back to all the different pieces and parts of the mission that happened as part of a team effort. And it's not just one individual that has that impact. It really is a coalition of the willing, the 20 nations that are taking part in this. That teamwork really adds up. And as pilots, yeah, you may be the one that is achieving that effect at the end of the chain, but there's a lot of things that happen prior to that, including the air refueling, the weather support, the intelligence that went into the actual mission. So once all these pieces come together, it's really awe-inspiring.
When we put weapons on targets, we're doing so deliberately and for a very specific purpose. It's serious business, and we treat it as such. And I truly believe that shows in the level of precision our airmen demonstrate on a daily basis. I also believe it's important to highlight that it's not just U.S. Air Force airmen carrying the load. Our airmen are part of a joint and 20-nation coalition team of extremely talented and professional airmen working around the clock in a coordinated effort led by our Combined Forces Air Component Commander to achieve our Joint Force Commander's objectives and ultimately eradicate Daesh from the communities they've been terrorizing and to prevent the further spread of extremist violence. So I couldn't be prouder of the work our airmen do every day.
Collaboration and precision, the key ingredients to combat airstrikes.